In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up our VR headset within Unity and make it so you can actually connect. So our first thing we want to do is we actually want to delete the main camera. You're only allowed to have one camera in the scene, or one main camera, so we're going to delete that. And you're going to go and right click on the hierarchy, and you're going to go to XR. Now if you don't see XR, you need to go back to the other videos. You need to install the right packages. You need to set the settings correctly as well. Do that before you do anything else. If the settings aren't right, it's going to mess up all the next steps. It might look like they're going properly and they won't work. So XR Origin VR. Yours may also say action-based XR Origin. Either or is fine. So there is one that is device-based. You don't want that one. So again, action-based, or if it matches what I have here. Unity changes so quickly the versions, and they slightly change the words. So there we go. Now if you look on your screen, there's nothing there. You can see there's a camera there again though. So if you click into this hierarchy, we've got the camera offset. So basically how far away is the camera from the person behind them. We've got a main camera. We've got a left-hand controller and a right-hand controller. So the first thing we need to do is set up our controllers. Now we have to set up every single one of these settings. That would take a lot of time. So instead we can use one of the presets. So you're going to click onto this little two bars going across. It looks like there's sliders on them. And we're on the left-hand controller, so we're going to click the left-hand controller. There we go. Fills it all in for us. Nice and easy. Do the same thing for the right-hand controller. So you're going to click on those little bars. It is on the XR controller script. Double click, and there we go. So now we've got our controller set up. And the only other thing we have to make sure is if you go to the XR Origin, you need to make sure there's an input action manager. Now, depending on the version, this can change slightly. Sometimes it'll import here, but it won't actually have anything inside of it. What's supposed to be there is under this action assets. It should say this XR default input actions. If that is not there and it just says list is empty, okay, so I'm going to show you what that look like. There you go. You can click on the plus button. Now it's going to say none. So you're going to click on this little circle and it's going to give us some options. Now we want the XRI default input actions. So double click on that. And there we go. We're back to where I am right now. The other thing we should have automatically once you add the XR Origin is the XR interaction manager. Now let's just say for whatever reason this isn't there. Okay, so I'm just going to pretend that mine gets deleted. So now I just have an XR Origin direction light. It will not work right now. So the controllers would not work. To get it back, you're going to right click, you're going to go create empty, and just type in XR interaction manager. Spelling doesn't really matter too much. And then you just have to go add that script. And so to find any of these scripts, it's best just type in XR. And then what are we looking for? It's the interaction manager. And I see it's the third one here. And now we're back into the same spot. So again, depending on the version, do make sure that is there. Now, you now have to set up the VR system. Sometimes that can be a pain, especially in our case where we don't have a VR system for each person. So we can set up the simulator. Now to get the simulator, you're going to type into the search bar under your assets. You can go and find it. It would take so much time. Just type in sim. And it's this one right here, XR device. And if I just zoom in a little bit or zoom way out, we can see it's the XR device simulator. So you can just drag that in there. Now we do have to be a little cautious with this. The VR headset will not work when this is running. So I guess you could always delete it, or you can just click the plus minus button on there. Sorry, plus minus, the check mark button. So when it's checked, it's there. When it's not checked, it's disabled. So if we go hit play, this will run now. Now it might take a moment. You're likely to not see very much. We have no planes, we have nothing there. Now, also not that uncommon to see a black screen, so let's just try again. And if that's still the case, we may put a plane in there. Yeah, so if this is happening to you, the first thing we can do is add a plane and see, hey, is it just because there's nothing there? So I'm going to right click over here and 3D object, and we're going to go to plane, and I'm just going to call this the floor. All right. Now my guess is that the XR origin camera is right inside the plane. So I'm going to click on my XR origin and just drag it up. Notice I'm not just dragging up everything else, it's the whole origin is going up. So if I hit play now, now there can be a lot of reasons for a black screen like that. In my case, it was because I actually had a VR headset still attached to my computer and it was trying to access that instead of the XR device simulator. Now in your case, that's unlikely to be the reason. It's probably one of the other settings or packages weren't installed properly. And if that's the case, just call me over. So this is what it should look like when it's done. You should see some kind of red that's poking out, and I'm using my mouse to kind of move around a little bit. It is a little difficult to use the XR device simulator, but it can be useful for little tests. At this moment, you have everything ready to go to actually complete your VR project.